Hello, good morning. It's Thursday the 9th. I'm FX Plu and this is the market brief. So Sunak was on yesterday. His focus was on hospitality, jobs and the property market. He cut VAT to 5% for hospitality for the next 6 months. That'll cost about £4 billion. And he announced several novel schemes like the half-price meal deal. And he also raised the stamp duty threshold to £500,000. Focusing on jobs, youth employment was boosted by a placement scheme that leads to full-time jobs for 18 to 24-year-olds, and employers were encouraged to take back furloughed employees with a cash bonus promised of £1,000 per employee if they stay on until the end of January. The overall cost of this pandemic will be in the region, probably in excess of 300 billion quid. And so while there was barely a mention of sustainable public finances, I'm sure some less palatable decisions will be needed for Sunak to balance the books in due course. It's likely he'll start taking those steps in the autumn budget. But don't worry, Boris has already ring-fenced the healthcare sector, making that virtually untouchable. Sterling rose yesterday, largely before Sunak was on, and we touched 126.25 against a weakening dollar. Momentum has continued though. We're already challenging 126.50 this morning. SME recovery in the US may take a little longer than originally expected. They've been slow to take up the facilities provided by the Fed. Banks have been overly cautious in their lending practices, but applications have also been lower than forecast. Initial sentiment about that was that the sector felt survival might be possible without adding liabilities to their balance sheets, but the number of firms needing help is now growing fast. So, stepping in the right direction, the scheme has been changed, extending the loan to a 5-year term and cutting the minimum loan size to make it more palatable to both lenders and borrowers alike. Next up for Trump though, it's the new public support program that needs to be rolled out, because uncertainty around that is feeding through to concerns about the US recovery. And of course, with the economy promoted as one of Trump's success stories, any dent in sentiment could affect voting in November. Better get that checkbook out then, Donald. For the Eurozone, when the S&P rating agency published its global economic review, it raised concerns for the Eurozone and the tricky situation faced with the pandemic relief fund. The Eurozone economy, you'll remember, was already slowing and there were fears of a recession way before COVID-19 struck. So the concern is that this may lead to reliance on the support when it finally comes, and also concern is of a shallower recovery than previously forecast. The economy needs consumer spending to provide the grassroots activity that will then add to growth throughout the region, but that's just not happening so far. So far, it's a pretty bleak outlook for that Eurozone recovery, and just for the bants, throw in Brexit to boot. But that's a longer term concern. With typical short term focus, excuse me, the euro actually rallied a little further yesterday. Euro dollar touched 113.50 on the day. All right, that's it from me today. Have a great day. I'll be back here again tomorrow. All the best.
If you do not have a clue, then just tweet through and ask FX Blue.